Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Get your pens out. Women's Spirit Festival interviews. You better get your pens out so you can write some notes for another beautiful Women's Spirit Festival interview with my special and amazing guest today, Josie LoPorto Freeborn. I'm so happy to have you here. Always love a good chat with you.
I just love being here. It is fun to have a great chat together, and I love chatting with you because we just flow so easily.
We totally do. What do you love the best about this event in this community?
Well, just what I said, the flow of it. I love the flow, how easy it is to come in, to watch the other talks, to be part of this as a speaker, but the energy that comes with it, it just feels like it's home. It feels like home.
Right? It's all about community. Ladies, if you don't know this incredible butterfly unicorn who you see sitting in front of you yet, just put hello in the chat for us. Just put hello in the chat right now. Give us a hello. And I want to introduce you to Josie Freeborn. She is an incredible entrepreneur, a global speaker, event and show host, and she's a women's leadership mentor. She has over 30 years experience, just like me. We have this in common. 30 years experience, but mine's not in sales. But hers is in sales, marketing, and personal development, including generating millions of dollars in sales and supporting hundreds of businesses. She blends strategy with soulful self-expression through her soul-led method. She is incredible. Like Josie is one of the most heart-centered and also grounded people that I have ever known. And I know that if you don't know Josie yet, you're going to totally enjoy getting to know her. She's also a community youth mentor, a girl empowerment guide, a devoted wife and mom, and she leads from a place of presence, purpose, and lived experience. So you are going to have such a treat, everybody, getting to know Josie. If you haven't put hello in the comments yet, put hello in the comments for us, and let's dive in. So, Josie, why don't you tell everybody a little bit more about what is it that you're up to in the world? What do you help women with?
Well, my passion is actually working with youth because it is my belief that if I can impact the youth in their own empowerment and owning who they are and standing into their true, authentic selves and expressing that in a way that feels good for them, that we can now turn them into the adults as they grow up with that confidence that so that they don't have to spend the time like you and I did trying to sort it out and figure it out because back when we were growing up it wasn't that way.
Totally. Oh, I love that you have that heart's passion for helping youth. And then your business is all about helping women entrepreneurs. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So my business comes from a deep desire in my heart to help every woman step into her own confidence and her own I can't talk today, authenticity. And the reason why I love the word unicorn is because every woman who comes into my container wants to be different. They want to stand out in a way that somebody recognizes them for who they are. And can I draw a parallel between what I spoke about the youth and the women? There's something really cool here. From my own daughter's experience and the children that I mentor, I see the youth becoming more confident in how they look, how they stand, how they speak, and liking the things that they like and not being afraid to say it. And this is the beginning of the empowerment. And when I was that age, way back then, it was not that way. And so, what I see with the youth, I have the women entrepreneurs within my community that I support struggling for that. So, with the fact that I can blend the two, the youth and the women entrepreneurs coming together to help them as an adult empower who they are and stand into their own appearance, their own words, their own voice, their own
Hmm.
stories, that's to me one container. They're not two separate things.
And it's full circle. Like, we're both 50. We both just turned 50 this past fall. And sometimes I got to admit something. Sometimes I still have questions and doubts in my mind. And I go like, I'm 50. I'm not 12. But we're still on an evolving journey always. And that's what I love about what you do with women is like you help them to embrace their own unicorn sparkle. And I mean, you've got the hair color thing that is so fun, by the way. Unicorns, butterflies, purple hair. I think that purple is one of my favorites on you. And helping adult women, like what's the difference between a girl who's 12 who's just like figuring herself out and a woman who's in her 50s figuring herself out?
Yeah, That's the thing. That's where the parallel is. I see the world through, and maybe my approach is different because of this. I see the world through the eyes of children for the most part because they look at the world with awe and wonderment and sometimes disgust and I get this
They don't hold back.
they do not hold back. And we have been trained as we go from a 12 or 13 or 14-year-old to 20 and 30 and 40-year-olds. And suddenly we start holding back, or not suddenly, it takes time, but we become trained and we hold back. And it's not right to say this and not right to do that. And next thing you know, we're all starting to sound alike and look alike and feel alike. And we don't know who we are anymore. And it is my beautiful wish that every woman would be able to see herself like maybe that 12 or 13-year-old girl again, or man, if men are listening, to step back just for a moment. And I'm not saying become immature and irresponsible, but to look at the world through the eyes of possibility and to
Mm.
see yourself for the true, your authentic self, and then to express that and not be afraid of what other people are going to say.
I I love this because I see in myself and so many of my friends who are around this age and women that I've seen go through this, like we're at an identity shift. We're like, who am I now? What do I want now? And it feels similar to when we were young teenagers being like standing for ourselves for the first time or claiming what we want or wearing what we want or cutting our hair how we want. And it feels like a new like it feels like something's happening again at this moment in our life and we can claim something new. It's exciting. I don't know all what it means or where it's going, but after coming through what I went through over the past 4 or 5 years, like a lot of grappling, I feel like I'm like emerging going, "Hey, this is an exciting time."
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, just you got me excited. My voice went so high. Yes. It is an exciting time. And I have to laugh because I look at my daughter. Actually, I'm going to say my son, he's not here. He won't hear it. That's okay. My son, when my daughter came into that age where, she started coming into that part of her life and me on the end of it, not end of my life, end of the like the menopause, the perimenopause, the change in my identity of who I am. We're both parallel, just
Yeah.
experiencing it at two different ends of the stick. And my son had said, "Oh God, Dad, now I have two women that I have to take care of."
Oh,
But the
what a
fact that
sweetheart.
right, he's seeing this transition. So not only is it affecting the youth, the children, the girls that I mentor, and the women that I support in their businesses and in their leadership, but I watch my son and hear him say something like that. He didn't mean it in a bad way, but it is making him aware so that he is not going to grow up like maybe let's say my father or my grandfather did in that mentality that boys are boys and men are men.
Yeah, the boys now are like we swung so far in one direction and so far in the other direction that disempowered boys and men. And now I feel like they're like coming into center and they can be empowered, strong men, but also kind and caring. It's beautiful. Now, we're talking about like women's journey, boys' journeys, girls' journey, women's journeys. The power of sharing stories is something that you do a lot with women. Can you speak about how it's healing to talk about what we've been through?
Yes, yes. I actually didn't realize my whole life I've been a storyteller, but until I started working with it even in my business and had some awesome mentors that taught me about the power of the story, I realized that the story itself can be very healing and can be beneficial to the person telling the story, such as my father, who was a storyteller. And that's, I think, where I got to be the storyteller that I am from him. God rest his soul, taking that into me to be healing. So when he passed, I used a lot of stories for my own healing. And a lot of women do that, but stories can also be connecting and they connect the people to the people who they're most aligned with. And that's part of where my talks were in this event about the healing part of the story and then the leaning in and the connection part of the story. And that is the most beautiful I don't want to say result, but the most beautiful part of what a story can do is bring people together in unity, but also it can bring people together in their different perspectives and viewpoints. But stories ultimately are what connect us to the population, and we are human, to the
Yeah.
people around us. And
Mm.
I think in my first talk, if I can just allude to that for a minute or go back to that, The Giver was a story. It was a book. It's a grade 8 curriculum, The Giver. And it's not, I don't get money for doing it to talk about it, but it was a story based on a society that revolved around one man keeping the stories and secrets and history of its society in order for this society to continue. But it was one man who kept the stories, but he was the most revered man in their community.
Yeah.
So stories are so important.
Stories are how humans passed on information and wisdom before we had the written word. Like stories have been around longer than written word. Even some people say longer than language. Like we told stories through sign language and like the stars and all of it. So like they're written into our DNA. And that's what makes sharing it so powerful. I feel like there was an era where it was like stiff upper lip, keep calm, carry on, don't share anything, like nobody talk about anything. And that caused damage. You could see women in the 1940s and 1950s just like spiraling down. And now we're coming back to a place where we're sharing the challenges and things we've been through, and it's healing. Tell us a little bit of what you've been through, some challenging, like what's a big challenge that you've been through that you want to share today?
Wow, the one that stands out the most is the most recent big challenge was when my father passed away just a year ago in February of the year before. And it changed me. It changed me, Elizabeth, and it's opened up something inside of me that I never knew was there. It created what I can express it as is a an opening of light, light that just comes out of my heart, out of my soul, out of my body. But within that light is the love that I had for my father, who was the storyteller, who was the man who understood me for my unique unicorn quirkiness and embraced me and loved me for that. Not that my mom and my sister and my rest of my family didn't, but when he passed away, it broke open. It
Yeah,
didn't break me, but it broke me open. And that is where so much shifted because I started really using storytelling as a cathartic way to heal.
yeah.
And I would say you can never be healed completely from that, but to begin that healing process, to put together. Do you know the what is it, the Japanese art of putting something broken
Yeah, when
together?
they break, what is that? Everybody put it in the chat. When you break a bowl and then you put it back together with gold and it's more beautiful. What is
Yeah,
that?
I forget what it's
Is that
called.
wabi sabi?
Wabi sabi, wabi sabi.
Somebody tell us in the
Oh,
chat.
somebody
What is
needs to
it?
tell us. But that is how I felt. I felt like this broken, shattered bowl that was put back together, and everything that I started doing with the stories that was sharing, the stories that I began to listen to even more and be more alert and aware of were stories that actually changed who I was and allowed me to grow, but also stories that allowed my business to grow, that allowed my community to grow and my family even to grow. So it all came from the idea that my dad was the storyteller. And so when he passed away, it's almost like his storytelling came into me.
Yeah.
I almost feel like that. And that's what I said to him on his deathbed.
Wow.
I said, Dad, I know what I have to do now. What is your legacy? Because we wondered for the months that we knew he was sick what his legacy would be. And when he passed, I whispered to him and I said, I am your legacy, and I will continue to be that storyteller to share kindness and love and spread it through the world.
Ooh. Wow. Yeah, that is powerful. Thank you for sharing that. Can you all just put some love, like put the word love in the comments right now when we feel like our purpose ignited and infused into our hearts by somebody and what we've been through and all of it. And then Josie, you created an event. Like she hosts speakers. She created a beautiful event, everybody. And she still continues to host this event based on that experience. Tell us about that.
Yes, that's called the Echoes of Love movement. And the reason why that came to be was when we were celebrating my dad's life only a few months after he passed, it just came clear to me that the love, kindness that he represented, he always did kind things. Pay it forward was basically his way of living. And I thought, how can I do something to honor this? And not just for my father, but for other people who have had losses. And that came through the storytelling. And other than there's no purpose other than coming to this event to share a story of someone you've loved, you've lost,
Oh,
whether they passed away or you've just lost them in your life, because of the cathartic experience of story sharing with a community of like minded individuals with the idea of passing on kindness and love. And here's where it all came together. My dad said to me when people were singing in the balconies, remember during our global separation, the balconies, the people came together in Italy singing. And
Yeah.
my dad, being the Italian guy he was, he said to me, Joe, can you imagine what would happen in this world if we all felt love at the same time?
Oh,
And
I,
I this was before he passed. And that word, those lingered in my ears. But when he passed, and I got this idea to create this event, those words rang through my ears, and I used those words and I spoke those words. And the loving kindness that came from the Echoes of Love movement just grew. I get tingles right now just thinking about it. It was
oh,
beautiful.
that is so beautiful. You'll be doing another Echoes of Love event at some point. How about everybody, if you want to speak on that event or attend that event, just put echoes in the comments. Should we do that?
Yeah, that'd be great. It's coming up in a couple months,
Yeah,
actually.
put echoes in the comments and Josie can follow back up with you about that event. And there's so much power in us just like coming together as humans. Like you were saying, like singing on the porches, singing, music, stories. These are things that make us human, especially in an AI era. Like, what do you think about what's going on? Like, AI it's incredible. Like, this great tool that can help us like get off our computers because it makes us everything a lot quicker. What are your thoughts on what's happening with AI in this era?
Wow, I'm glad you asked that because recently some people know me as like the little pot stirrer maybe in some things. But I recently posed a question inquiring about what people thought about AI and how it
Oh, cool.
might be, yeah, it might be creating less critical thinkers. My worry about how we're going to use our brain, but I'm not here to say no to AI. I use AI all the time. In fact, I just got another AI support for my business as a solopreneur, quote unquote. I need support. I've just hired a couple people to help me in my business, but AI has taken a lot of what would take me hours, days, weeks, months, maybe even years to create an AI has made it much more simple. So I
Yeah,
embrace AI, but
yeah,
when used ethically and responsibly, it can be a beautiful thing.
yeah.
But we still need to
We
use
still
our
need to think.
brains.
Yeah. I've used AI to like ask health questions that I never would have had access to. You know, we have like 10 minutes with the doctor and it's like one thing you can take. I've used it to like walk me through my perimenopause and menopause journey, and it's been amazing. Like I'm like, I would not have the information that I have. I would not be on track as I am now without it. Because a once a year visit to somebody that you're like, they're supposed to give me all the information. It's kind of like it's opened up access to all the information that we could all want on healing and wellness and consciousness and awakening, like this journey that we're on in Women's Spirit Festival. And then not to mention business. Like there's so much that we can benefit from. So I'm kind of I'm a little bit of an AI lover. But
Me
and
too.
then it also makes me go like our human connections are even more important. So I like that. Yeah. And that's what Women's Spirit Festival is all about. Is like real women coming together to share their advice and their lived experience wisdom of healing and wellness, awakening, spirituality, transformation, and all of it. What's your advice for a woman who's on an awakening journey? She's on a journey of maybe finally getting her health on track. You've walked through lots of different health challenges yourself. So, what would be your advice for all of these women here who are walking this path?
Well, I would say listen to your body, not just what everybody else says, not just AI, not just your doctors, not just your friends. Listen to your body because your body holds words of wisdom. And we have gotten so far away from actually paying attention, not hypochondriac like listening, but to listen. And when I started listening to what my body needs after my diagnosis, actually it started just before my diagnosis with my own autoimmune condition, listening to what these symptoms me are telling me and looking at it from an emotional connection, not just a physical. One of the things I really like, it's my fun thing on the side. I really enjoy helping women see the emotional connection to their physical dis-ease. And I am not a
Oh,
doctor,
cool.
I'm going to say that, but to have some awareness of what does this mean physically, but what does it mean emotionally and energetically? And that's my biggest thing is really just listening to the body because once we start doing that, our body tells us what it needs. We can lean into it. Take a daily routine, drink lots of water, do lots of stretches, but don't become stressed about it. The stress is what increases inflammation, which then turns into other health issues. Like, I know that's a lot in one thing, but it all comes down to listening to what our body actually is telling us.
That is powerful advice. Can somebody just write what you heard Josie say in the chat so I can come back and re-listen because it's so important. And that bringing us back to listen to our body, listen to our own body, because there's so much information out there that sometimes we can like outsource our own feelings or thinking, and listening to our own bodies, so important. Yeah, this is a beautiful reminder. And then I found coming into menopause, it was like listening to my body, but sometimes it was playing tricks on me. Like it was like I had to learn to listen deeper because on the surface it was like, you're really hungry right now. And I'm like, no, like let's make sure that we're on track. Or like, I just want to rest all day and not even go outside. And it's like, yeah, we have to listen deeper, which is, yeah, I need to get outside in nature, like right there outside the window. But I'm like an indoor cat in the middle of winter.
It's like the basics, and we said this on behind the scenes, is like getting back to the basics
Yeah.
and really listening to our body, but looking at the basics of how society and how not society, how what were we saying about like eating 3 meals a day? My parents told me to do that, and then we
Yeah.
got this idea of doing multiple, and everybody has a different perspective of it. But there is some truth to the way our
Women
grandparents did
over
things.
45, you, like forget everything you think you know about health and weight and food and all of it, and then learn something new. And that's what we do in business as well. Like we have to forget what we think we know in order to move forward in all area relationships, our connection with God. Like we have to forget everything that we think we knew before and come into a new era and truly listen, which is oh, I love that you said that. Listen, like really listen. I really like that. Okay, Women's Spirit Festival is on right now. You have three talks that are happening. Tell us what we can expect just briefly by going and searching for those talks, everybody, because the conversations that we have in here and the interviews, they're so much fun, but the talks are really where the main event is.
Yeah, so I actually decided, I was thinking, what can we do? Pulling my talks into here as far as the story goes. I felt that the draw to talk about the story and how a story can be healing and how a story can have a purpose and how a story can, for the entrepreneurs who I work with, how a story can actually be something very special for that as well. There's always a purpose for a story. And so my three talks guide the women through the different ways to be able to use stories not only to connect with other people but also interconnection and what it can tell you about yourself. So there's a lot of insights in the talk. So it's a three-part series that takes you from the acknowledging and telling a story to the connection of the story to now how do I take action with my story? How can I change
Beautiful.
people's lives using these stories?
Oh, I love that. So everybody, you know what to do. We're here inside Women's Spirit Festival. Go to the top. There's a little magnifying glass. Type in Josie LoPorto Freeborn, and all her talks will come up, and you'll be able to actually take those in. It's like a powerful lessons in every single one. It's a transmission you're not going to want to miss. So go to the little magnifying glass, search her. And then also, what's really special about Women's Spirit Festival is that you can click Josie right here and friend request her, follow her on Facebook, follow her on social media, and you can write in the comments right now, like write in thank you, Josie. Do that for us right now. Write in thank you, Josie. And you can directly communicate with her. You can get in DMs. That's what's so special about Women's Spirit Festival is that you can like get all up in each other, like connect and form real relationships. This isn't just a moment, but this is a movement of women who are committed to rising, healing, and supporting one another. So everybody connect with Josie, go check out her talks, but more importantly, connect with her personally as well. Josie, what do you like about being able to connect with our audience?
Oh, it's my favorite part because it's unlike other summits and other speaking events that I've actually had the privilege of speaking on or in person, or this gives me an opportunity to continue a conversation as well, not just start one and end and never see the person again. So I love the connection. I love the interaction between the speakers and the attendees, the people who are trying to grow from these events. And so for me, the favorite part is just the continuing of the conversation, not just in the comments, but over in the direct messages as well.
Yeah, I love that. And I love how much our speakers give to our community. So you got something to give to everybody here?
I sure do. Yes, it is. I've called it Ignite. And what it is basically a simple process to do to be able to learn about what your story is. How do you want to tell your story? What was your experience? Like take walk them through the process of creating their own story. So if some of the audience members here don't have a story yet or aren't yet turning into the speakers who are facilitating in this event, it walks you through how to craft your story in a not craft it, sorry, how to pick a story and then how to walk through the steps of using your story. And so it's a
Beautiful.
very simple process. It's called Ignite. Do they want to know how to get it? I
Yeah.
think too. Just drop the word ignite. It's easy. Ignite in the comments, and I will send that over to you. And it's so simple, a beautiful, easy to follow PDF, nothing that you actually have to go and do a lot because we're
Simple,
so
simple. I
simple.
love that. Ignite is the word, everyone. And I would imagine whether you're a woman in business or whether you're a woman who is just at a point in your life where you know that your story might help others. Maybe you sit around on couches and share it with sisters, or you sit around the campfire and share with family, or maybe you have a dream of writing a book someday. Whoever you are, wherever you're at with your journey, having a story is powerful. And Ignite is the place to start. So put
Ignite your story.
Ignite your story, put Ignite in the chat. And anything else you want to talk about today before we wrap up?
Oh, you know me, I could probably talk about everything, but no, we'd be here forever. But what, you know what I do want to say, Elizabeth? I want to just honor you for creating this event, give you a lot of kudos because this is where my speaking journey officially began 2 years ago over here at the Women's Spirit Festival, and where I delivered a talk that was like, my had a wardrobe
I
thing. I was trying to,
remember it was
on
cute.
Facebook, it was weird. I'm like, wait, I'm texting here, and it was so and janky and weird, but I showed up and I gave two talks and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it again because I thought I was a great speaker and then I learned, wait, I need to refine and I just continued to refine, but it all began right here in the Women's Spirit Festival. So I want to say thank you for continuing and not being a one-off and continuing to bring up this Women's Spirit Festival every year, multiple opportunities to have the voices heard. So thank you for doing this.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. You know, words are one of my love languages. And Women's Spirit Festival is a creation of my heart, and I love doing it. And this community that rises around it is incredible. And I always learn so much too. Like going through everybody's talks, I'm like moved and I learn so much. So it's beautiful. All right. So, what would you like to leave our audience with? Some final words of wisdom from Josie LoPorto Freeborn, everybody.
Well, if it comes down to, since we're talking about stories, and that's what my talks revolve around about the power of the story, is to have you, the audience members, just think about a story that you have within you. You don't have to have it perfect. You don't have to have it crafted. You just have to share it and think about the person who needs to hear your story, whose life you or change by simply sharing your story with the people around you because you never know whose life you might impact by being bold enough to share your heart in your story.
Oh, I love that. It's so true. When we start, like we can ignite just ripples of beautiful impact. I really love that. Thanks, Josie. Remember, everybody, the word is unite, ignite for Josie's connection. So put ignite in the comments. And if you loved this, can you put some love in the comments? Just put like thank you and what your key takeaway, what your insight or aha is from this. Maybe you've been writing notes the whole time and you're coming over here and putting it in the chat. Like, what is your insight or takeaway? Put it in the comments right now. Put some love for Josie. Go find the rest of her talks. And just to all of you who are participating, thank you for being the best part of Women's Spirit Festival. We'll see you all in the next interview. Thanks again, Josie.
You're welcome. Bye bye.
Bye, everybody.